I'm very excited. It almost feels like home with d10e. And I'm just wondering how many of you actually have heard about Liberland from the crowd. I can see a couple people that saw me on the other events. But I'm also excited that it was more than 500 million people that heard about Liberland when it first started. And it was an amazing gathering, and it is still an amazing gathering of brilliant minds from all around the world. And what we can actually rely on is an excessive support from the media. All the world press agencies have informed about Liberland. They usually gave a very distorted picture of what we are doing, but still it was great. Any kind of PR is great. This was, for example, from Business Insider, when they said that we want to become the world's foremost tax haven. And I'm always fighting with that notion, because we don't want to be tax haven, we want to be tax heaven. We want to be tax paradise, a very open place about living people live in a free society. And this is what we just stated, and then we got enormous response, right? We said that we're going to build this on ideas of the founding fathers of the United States, the ideas that have been long forgotten, the ideas that the state should be minimal, should take care of justice, security, and diplomacy, and nothing apart of that. Not bothering the entrepreneurs with any kind of special taxes. We actually also invoked the idea of the voluntary tax system, something which has been long forgotten, but also was suggested by the founding fathers of the United States and was actually in practice for more than 6 years. And we really believe that now it's the time to actually come back to these ideas, because we do have a technology and we do have such a great access of energy in the whole society that these ideas of completely voluntary society are possible. We had a building in Liberland, and we said we will all fit all the institutions in Liberland into that small building, and this is how we wanted to fix it. We actually had an idea just to have a couple judges, just to have a couple policemen. But the longer we are thinking about these concepts, the more we realize we actually run everything in a decentralized way on a platform which will be just available on your phone. So we will have an Uber-style policeman which will be running on blockchain. We are preparing a decentralized justice system with a number of startups now. And the idea behind Liberland is simple, right? We've got a state which has grown to a magnitude of, let's say, 40% of GDP. It is consuming some 45 taxes, if you count everything together, and different fees. It's really making life of the people quite tough. For example, the European Union itself calculates that it is taking away as much as 3.5% of GDP growth every year. Now, if you are familiar with how the exponential growth works, you basically what they're saying that they are destroying half of the Europe every 20 years. If they say that 3.5% is the result of 250,000 pages of regulation that they put together, they actually admit that they are diminishing the growth, the overall growth in 20 years to half, and we could have another European economy. The same thing applies for the United States. If somebody just calculated that if they stop the level of regulation on the level of from 1990s, there would be another economy size of Germany being built within the United States. So we don't realize how much destruction is there being made by the excessive overregulation and overtaxation, and we wanted to point that out. And the idea is that you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change things, build a new model that makes existing model obsolete. And we see that in the cryptocurrency world. What it is doing, it's completely getting... I've got this feeling that also many people here and on these conferences don't really understand what is happening. When they, for example, say, there will be this guy, and he's going to invest in crypto, and then he's going to turn it back to euros, and then he will enjoy the money. Or there will be this criminal that stole the money in Slovenia, and we will track him down until he finally changes the money into fiat, and then we will lock him up. But those people, they don't realize this is very likely not what's going to happen. What we will see, and it's very likely, that maybe within 10 to 15 years, there will be no more euro. There will be no more US dollar. If you just extrapolate the enormous growth that the cryptocurrencies are doing, they're fulfilling exactly this paradigm. They're bringing much better currency than any of the central banks can offer. And it is growing in such a pace that the criminal simply doesn't have any reason whatsoever to turn it back to euros. He's just going to sit on the bitcoins that he stole, and then he's going to buy whatever he wants directly with bitcoins, as he can already. So we are applying the same model to the nation building and to the state building. We are just trying to find the best concepts out of the blockchain world and fit them into the concept of modern state. And what we need is a population, defined territory, government, and capacity to enter into in relations with other states. And if you want to read a little bit more about it, the Chicago Journal of International Law wrote a nice article with all the details. But let me just tell you, we have now 500,000 people that registered on our website with interest for citizenship, which makes us in a way larger than Iceland or Malta. And I think it's great if you consider that we are just 2.5 years old. We've got 150,000 people that applied for citizenship and also are following the criteria that we want from people. Those are people that respect religious beliefs of others, that respect private property, that also want to contribute to development of Liberland somehow. And we've got almost 70,000 businesses that want to start operating outside of Liberland, which is also exciting. And you have to realize we haven't even started building there yet. We also have a piece of land. It's very well defined. It's between Croatia and Serbia, as you could see on the first map. In order to avoid any territorial dispute with those countries, we gave each one of them extra half meter. And it's a very interesting situation in which this piece of land was unclaimed and unoccupied for more than 25 years. And what we received from the two countries was that Serbia stated they don't mind creation of Liberland on this piece of land. They don't have any problem with it in general. And it was only 11 days after Liberland started. And Croatia, until today, does not register that piece of land as theirs. They simply stick with the borders that they want to have with Serbia, and they're claiming this piece of land belongs to Serbia, which gives us a very special legal situation. And we have a government, great guys with a lot of expertise. For example, Thomas Walsh was one of the people that was working on Dayton agreements, pushing the agreement on Balkans, so he knows the area very well. Dennis Pierce is a very skilled individual working with many governments in his life. And we also have a Minister of Justice, but let me skip that because we already decided we're going to go a different way. We formed a partnership with a startup called Kleros. It's a justice protocol on Ethereum. And this is something which I believe will, again, drive the traditional justice systems obsolete. It is an idea that basically the democracy or the justice system, as you could see it in Athens, was an interesting concept that every single citizen could become a jury, and that these randomly formed juries can make very good decisions, maybe even better than traditional court systems. And they haven't done their ICO yet. They're getting ready for it in early spring, but I think that's something that you should look into. And we've got a great advisors and a network of individuals that are helping us with forming these ideas and also with our own ICO that we are preparing. Some of them, like Nicholas Nicolaisen, is very well known, one of the first Bitcoin bankers in the world. Alexander Borodich is the chairman of our economic council. He just launched his ICO. He fundraised $25 million. I think these people altogether raised more than $1 billion, and they've got the great expertise to help us move forward. This week, we are actually working with them on the white paper and finalizing it, but if you're interested, please come talk to me, and I will be more than happy to share it with you in private before we put it public. We've got a list of things and achievements that we want to do before the ICO. We have done a lot of them already. But there is one thing, right, about the building of a state, and it must be something that really people sort of enjoy. And I think that this quote explains exactly what the nation building and state building is. You can be a real country unless you have a beer and an airline. It helps if you have some kind of football or some nuclear weapons, but at the very least, you need to have a beer. And this is where the first Liberland beer comes in. It was actually put together by our supporters only 3 weeks after Liberland started to exist. But it bankrupted. It didn't work longer than half of the year, which I think is fine because we have a free market where companies are able to be created and they can bankrupt. But right after, we had another beer. And I can tell you, it is actually a great concept. They are doing a decentralized brewery. They're already using 3 breweries on the planet to disperse their products. And they are also preparing an ICO in June next year. They will be the first brewery ever to do an ICO on their products. And I'm very excited about it. They have been very successful with it. So far, they got the second place in a competition within Serbia. And so they're doing fairly well. This is the brewery in United States where they're cooperating now. And it will be nice. I think they will be able to, in their ICO, there is like 30 countries that they want to start producing their products, which is a great beer. And we also have an airline. I'm more than happy to tell you that we recently got an extra 3 jets that are within our network. The more people, of course, we got the yearly Bitcoin investors, the more jets Liberland has. But it's very exciting time. Right now, there are 2 planes in Prague, 2 planes in Germany, 1 plane in the United States, 2 planes in Thailand. And they're kind of working together on building this chartered company, which makes it very easy for Liberlanders to travel all around the world on demand. Also, people are complaining. Yesterday, I had an interview with the Czech media. They're complaining that I'm wasting taxpayers' money on private flights. That's not true. Whenever I'm flying with Air Liberland, it's for free, which is very nice for me. But it is great that these plane owners are supportive of what we are doing. It doesn't want to work. Did it die just on me? Probably. Yeah, we've got a great number of supporters in the field of architecture. One of the most exciting one is Patrick Schumacher, the CEO of Zaha Hadid. He has put together a competition for Liberland architects. In our database, we've got more than 1,300 architects that applied for citizenship. And it was great that Patrick took the leading role and put together the competition. We had some fabulous results, how Liberland could be developed. Some of them standard, but some of them are extraordinary. For example, designing a nice golf course and making just a couple buildings in Liberland to make the settlement kind of symbolic, but also futuristic. That was a studio from New York that put this together. This was a studio from Harvard professor that was put together, a proposal, also very light, how the place could be settled, which I probably like the most. You can see how the plots would be developed or separated in that proposal on our cadastre map, /liberland.org. And the diplomacy with other countries is, of course, very important as well. We are covering step by step most pieces of this planet with our representative offices. Some of them are just people, but some of them are physical. I'm happy that we just recently opened our representative office in Belgrade, that we have a stable representative offices in Berlin, United Kingdom, Prague, Croatia now as well. So it's one of the very important parts, and I'm very happy about the representatives that we have. For example, in United Kingdom, Tariq Abbasi is not just representative of Liberland, but also representative of Queen. Our representative in Bermuda is an important person in the liberty movement, but also owner of one of the largest insurance companies on this planet. So it's a great network of individuals that we have selected from the database, from the 500,000 people that applied for citizenship, that are pushing the recognition of Liberland forward. Yeah, we just had a very nice event yesterday. I flew directly from our diplomatic event in Prague. We had 120 people coming, number of ambassadors came, number of also some members of Czech Parliament, which was very exciting that we got these people on board. Oh, okay. Okay, I know where to point now. And we are also having some achievements in terms of diplomacy. We just cut the deal with Somaliland government, and I think it would be exciting to work with them. It's interesting, nobody knows that the country exists, but it's twice size the UK. It's very stable democracy for more than 26 years. It has an enormous amount of resources, including oil, gas, iron ore, and I think it's a very symbolic that they were willing to work with us. And they're not the first one government, but they are the one that first signed an agreement with Liberland and basically recognized Liberland. If you don't know where it is, it's right next to Somaliland, which is completely destabilized, crazy country without any reasonable leadership. Somaliland is separated for more than 26 years, and again, they are nice guys. That it was a pleasure to actually visit their country. And what we are planning is right next to Berbera airport and also a port, built a small enclave, a free trade zone, a very free trade zone, very close to Liberland ideas. And we are not the first one. Dubai has already pledged to invest $500 million into that place. So we were just going to make another small enclave of Liberland in Africa. Right now, I'm here for just a couple of hours because I'm flying directly to El Gouna, which is a private city built in Egypt by Saveri's family. And I hope to get them on board with our project. And I hope to get also inspiration how such a place could be developed in a desert-like area. And I don't know how many people know about El Gouna or heard about it. Maybe somebody was there. I'm just wondering how known is it? One? Yeah, it's right next to Hurghada, and it's a very nicely developed piece of land, and I'm looking forward to see it. And by the way, if anybody wanted to go with us, we've got a small delegation going there. You feel more than welcome. It's going to be nice. We will get the tour directly by the architects of that city next week. And we are also working on a ZD zone in Honduras, where the government of Honduras decided to change their constitution in order to be able to have new jurisdiction built within their own country, which is very exciting. There are now 20 startups that are pursuing a new jurisdiction to be created within Honduras. And again, feel free to join us in February between 18th and 23rd. It will be great to see all the possible places where such a ZD zone for Liberland could be developed. We have a lot of support from other heads of states, from important leaders like Syed Kamal, the chairman of the ECR, Gary Johnson. He was the third most likely person to become president in the United States. He said that he would recognize Liberland as the first thing if he got elected. Of course, that didn't happen, but it was still a nice supportive statement from a person that received more than 5 million votes, I believe, in the American election. And we've got lots of support in American Congress and Senate. I'm going to speak in front of the American Congress in late February, and it will be a great chance for us to spread our ideas among the most important superpower on this planet. And if you go to Liberland, the situation is still a little bit difficult. The only way how we can settle the place is through houseboats. But it's a lot of fun. We've got now 7 boats there, and it's very exciting, especially throughout the winter, when we've got a lot of tourists coming from the 500 million people that got to know about Liberland. And we've got also smaller groups for now, but this is almost like this every single weekend. But we also have bigger plans, and maybe we'll tell you a little bit more about that with Mike shortly. Why is it so slow, damn it? Okay. This is a boat which will be there, and it's going to be a conference boat since the early spring, and we will be able to host 200 people for some events in early next year. And I'm very excited about it, that we are celebrating our 3rd anniversary on 13th of April. And there is another thing which might be interesting for you. We also started to register the companies in Liberland, and one of the first companies incorporated in Liberland was Universa, which pledged 5% of their fundraising of their ICO for the development of Liberland. They fundraised $25 million, and so that means $1.3 million are going for the development of Liberland next year from that ICO, and we hope that many others will follow. And we also are partnering with Aragon, which is another great startup, which I would like to point your attention to, which is making possible you to start your company directly on blockchain as a DAO, as a service, which might be very interesting for some of you that are thinking about establishing a new company and you don't know if it should be Liberland, Liechtenstein, or Gibraltar, or maybe you should consider Aragon as well. So, okay. So that's it from me.
And I do want to invite Mike up to the stage who wants to say a couple of words.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you because you came here in February, and last minute you said you're not coming, you said somebody else, then you showed up, and now I know how you did it because you have your own private jets and your private propellers. But anyway, I want to thank you for coming back, and also you killed my announcement. I was going to announce that we're doing d10e in Liberland. It's not going to be on the 13th. We're going to gather on the 12th, like we always do, the night before the party and bond and all that. And then on the 13th will be the big day, which is Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday will be the conference, and people could fly out to wherever part of the world they come from on Sunday. And I'm glad you showed that picture because that's the boat that we're going to be partying on. Now, we were in Gibraltar, and they had a beautiful $60 million yacht with 180 five-star hotel rooms. And that was really cool to be stuck on that boat, and many of you were there. And it was really, really cool to have everybody in a boat, on land, docked, but everybody's hanging out in there. So I think it's going to be really interesting. Great. So thank you for inviting us.
Thank you very much.
And
great pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.